Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. So our guy is heading to the home of golf this weekend. We will get to that in a minute because first, I want to hear what you did to somebody else's home today.
Oh my god! So had a golf outing. What's funny is this was our second to last hole. I was striping the driver. I hit the ball really well all day. Started to get a little windy. Rain. It was raining most of the day, but it started to get a little windy at the end. And it's like, all right, I'm gonna play a cut down the left side. And unfortunately, we're playing one of those golf courses that is just home lining. It's, houses are not that far out of play. Pulled about 15, 20 yards. Wind doesn't really bring it. I mean, this thing was shot out of a cannon. I'm not going to lie. It was pulled. It was shot out of a cannon and just absolutely wrecked this woman's window. We drive up there. There's no avoiding it at this point, right? So, I go up and talk to her and like, you guys looking for a golf ball? I'm like, yeah, it's my golf ball. I was like, what did it hit? We didn't know what it hit at the time because it sounded like plastic maybe or vinyl. And come to find out, they hit a plexiglass window. This is how hard this thing was hit. It broke the plexiglass window. Look, I was proud of it. I was like, that's got to be like 175 ball speed minimum. I mean, maybe tipping 180. This thing was hit on a line. I give her my business card. I don't know the procedures here. I've never done this before. I don't know if I'm at fault. I don't know if there's some kind of coverage in their insurance policy that'll cover that. I have no idea. I gave her my business card. She seemed very reassured. She was actually pretty nice about it. I probably made her husband crap his pants because he was sitting at the table on the other side of this window. I can't even imagine what the sound was like in the house when this happened. So expensive round of golf possibly this afternoon.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was curious if did you just land in this guy's soup bowl or something?
Well, I'll tell you, if it wasn't plexiglass, it would have done some serious damage. It would have definitely gone through glass. Not a doubt about it. But yeah, I think he was probably pretty terrified.
Man, well, that's big of you to do the right thing. Go up there and let him know what happened, right?
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully get some business out of it. Gave her the old business card, told her where I lived. So, told her where I worked. So she was reassured. She actually was very nice. And I think she was nice because I was, not like the guy that comes up and is like, well, you live on a golf course, tough luck, kind of thing. So we'll see. I was talking with the guy I was playing with and he's like, I did this about 3-4 years ago. Gave her my business card and never heard anything about it. So I'm wondering if they just get a quote and she's like, look, this isn't even worth hassling him over it. So that's my hope anyway, but it could be an expensive round of golf.
Yeah. If anybody out there watching, listening, whatever you're doing, send us a message. We got the live chat going.
Yeah.
Let us know if you've done this and you know what the procedures are. So
do we have any insurance or real estate attorneys listening to this? Because that's what I'm going to need here soon, I think.
Gosh. Oh, man. All right. Well, if you are watching or listening, thank you, number one. Number two, please hit that like button, subscribe, rate and review the show. We appreciate all of that. And you can follow us on social media at Back96Pack. Sorry to bury the lead a little bit. I know you're very excited. You've been counting down the days for months.
Yeah,
it's here.
It's pretty much here. We're within a week. I'm at the stage of a trip. There's multiple stages, right? You get the initial excitement when you book it, and then the excitement builds as you get closer. When you book your flights, if you book your rounds of golf and then you book your flight, and you're like, all right, the excitement kind of builds up. I am now at the point of the trip that I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Yeah.
I'm very prepared to take this trip, but I'm also terrified of this I'm forgetting something feeling. It's not my passport, thank God. I checked that. I still have another 7 years on that bad boy. But yeah, it's the packing. I started packing yesterday. I don't know what clothes to bring. I mean, it's supposed to be relatively nice. It looks like as of now, our old course round, we are going to get through. We're going to get put through the gauntlet. It looks like it's going to be rainy. Looks like it's going to be kind of windy, which feels right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I would love to play it in the sun, like sunshine, but like a little wind and a little rain at the home of golf feels proper.
Very proper. Yeah, totally
But
agree. Which for anyone else that doesn't know, and you're here for the first time, maybe Justin's going to Scotland to play some golf. His first time. Yeah, I mean, like, what? Can you remind me? What are the courses you're playing in?
so we're playing the Castle course, which is part of the St. Andrews pack of courses, and then we're playing Jubilee, which is also part of St. Andrews. We're playing the Dukes, which is also, I did not know this, is also part of like the St. Andrews, golf course chain. We are going off the reservation for one place called Crail, which is, I've heard nothing but good things about. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's a little south of St. Andrews, Crail is. But we're kind of keeping on there. And so for those that don't know, there's multiple ways to kind of get on the old course now. It used to be like, hey, you got to show up. You don't know if you're playing. You either got to put into the ballot like the day of, or you have to wait in line at 2:30 in the morning and sleep out there and try to get in an empty tee time. Well, now, a couple different ways. The main way that everybody gets on it, you kind of commit to playing at least 3 of their other golf courses, which is, to me, they're good golf courses. I don't think you're missing out on anything by committing to that. But if you commit to play their other golf courses, you essentially get around it, the old course, which that's the easiest way to do it. I know people want to go play Kings Barnes and, all that stuff, Carnoustie. I think the idea would be, if you wanted to go play those courses, you book the other rounds. And then if you get on Carnoustie or you get on King Barn, you would just go play those rounds. And unfortunately, you're kind of out the money for the any St. Andrews round that you're missing, like Jubilee or whatever it is. But so just in case anybody's planning a trip like that, that's the easiest way to get on the old course. Book a package with them, play their other courses. All their other courses are great. But it still gives you the flexibility if you get on Carnoustie or you get on one of those other courses that, you can kind of just skip out on the round. And you're kind of out that money, but the old course is worth it to me. So, but that's kind of the deal we have. We got 2 days off. Tuesday, we're actually going to go down to St. Andrews. Our first round's not till Wednesday. We're going to go down to St. Andrews. We're going to do the Himalayas, which is the women's putting course, just to kind of get a golf club in everybody's hands after the long travel day, Sunday night, Monday. And then we start the trip with the Castle course on Wednesday. Nice. And then Thursday, I believe, is the 22nd. That is our old course. That's the day we play the old course. We're off at 11:20 and 11:30. We got a photographer, and I tell you what, I thought that was the dumbest thing, and I've done a lot of reading, and you don't have to do it for every round. I know there are some guys that kind of book trips and they book a photographer the whole trip. We didn't really want to do that, but I feel like the old course is a good setting to get a photographer, put the phone away, don't even worry about taking pictures, let someone else kind of worry about that. So we've got a photographer for our old course round, and very much looking to see how those turn out. I think it's going to be, I follow him on Instagram and Facebook, and his work looks amazing. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, that when you told me you were doing that, I think that's the thing I've been the most impressed about this trip and about your effort towards this trip. I never would have thought of that, but truly, I think that unlocks the entire day for you. Yeah,
I just putting the phone away and enjoying where you're at, right? I think that's the biggest part about going and playing some of these courses. That, look, I want to make another trip over, but this could very well be the first and last time I play the old course, right? I might make another trip over and just go, played these courses, don't want to really do it again, and go play a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, I think when I first read about that, I saw a guy do a thread on X about it, and I was like, that is a great idea. But I'm like, what's the price? It's pretty reasonable, to be honest with you.
Nice.
To kind of have that peace of mind of like, dude, I'm going to have like professional pictures. Saw guys that they'll do like a book, like a bounded book of all the pictures. I think that's just set it on your coffee table and let people look at your pictures. I think that's a great idea. So that's what I'm going to do when I get back. The only other cool thing we have planned is Thursday or Friday, I think, is our next off day. Saturday. We're going to take a little train ride down to Edinburgh, and we're going to go visit the Edinburgh Castle. Maybe I heard the Johnny Walker Museum's down there, so we might hit that up. I'm not a big Scotch guy, but I'll do a tour. I'm a sucker for a good museum. So that's the only other thing outside of the golf that we kind of have planned. But looking forward to figuring out the Scottish rail system. So
yeah, that'll be fun. I'm a big fan of public transit, especially over in Europe.
Yes.
The thing you have going for you is obviously the fact that it will be in English. Trust me.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
That is an underrated part of that. Yeah. It's, I've listened to a couple podcasts, and that's kind of one of the things is like you get the European feel, but like everybody speaks English. So you're not like lost and things like that. I think that's a really good way to put it. But yeah, big miss by the Americans here. The transit system feels highly superior to anything we have. An $18 round trip train ride gets you Dundee to where we're staying in Dundee to Edinburgh is about an hour train ride. I think it's like $18 round trip. That feels like a steal. And then we're like walking distance from our hotel to the train station in Dundee. So never touching a car. We're going to go from one town to the next and then back. Feels like a win-win for everybody. Maybe get some pints in that day, no driving. I feel like that's a must.
Exactly. Yeah. Perfect setup. Couldn't be more jealous, but we'll talk more about you and Scotland in the coming weeks here. We're about to get to our PGA Championship preview, of course. That is this weekend at Quail Hollow Golf Club. Before that, quick touch on league night. How'd your league night go? I didn't get to talk to you after.
Not good.
Me either.
A lot of 3 putts. I think I had 4 3 putts. It was just like hit the ball pretty good, just couldn't putt. Our greens are transitioning. We'll call it that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was undone by a couple holes. I came out of the guns or out of the gates firing and just fairway green the first 2 holes, comfy pars. Missed like a 5-footer on one for opening birdie. That was a little bit sad, but then
no double start though. That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, those came later. The hole 4, for people that don't know our course on the red course, short par 4, dog legs left. They had that tee all the way over on the left, and the trees were right there. I didn't take my medicine, so of course I hit a nasty rope hook into the trees. And I swear to God, this thing, I've never had one golf ball. Like, I've never made one swing that has hit more items on the way to the ball coming to rest than that shot. It was like tree, cart path, tree, cart path, and then something loud in the woods. I have no idea. It sounded like sheet metal.
Wasn't a house, was it?
I don't think so. It was not glass or plexiglass. So that led to a triple, which was unfortunate. I was playing pretty decent to that point. And then I doubled the last hole, got stuck under a tree and some roots, had to take it unplayable. It was just not a good situation. But overall, felt pretty good about where the swing was. I'm definitely noticing the speed gains. Shout out to the stack. I'm excited for the rest of the season. I was texting with Nick earlier. I was like, man, I just want to play a lot of golf right now. And like, I'm just like ready. I'm in the zone. I've got the itch, the bug, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, we're deep into May. I mean, or getting deeper into May. It's that time to start playing a decent amount of golf. I mean, we've had some really bad weather, just untimely weather, I guess, probably be the better way to put it. Yeah. With the rain kind of happening on the weekends, and the nicer days are like your Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It's just not been. Hopefully that's changing soon. That's the goal. Yeah, I did walk. By the way, I told you I was going to walk and carry. That happened. I loved it. I actually, sometimes I feel like a push cart can be a little inconvenient. I don't know why I feel that way, but it does after like carrying. I was a whole vibe though on Wednesday night. I had the music going in the bag. It was great. I really enjoyed it. Some of the guys were just like, man, like I played with two other guys that walked, and they were like, I can't believe you're like carrying. I'm like, it's not that like that new bag is elite. I mean, that new vessel bag is light. It's very easy to carry. So if you're looking for something you want to start carrying and walking, that vessel is probably the way to go. So
maybe we need to start a trend at the club. Just get everybody out there carrying.
Hey, it's the purest form of golf. Carrying and walking.
Yeah, I mean that in itself is a great vibe, especially for a Wednesday night. Well, transition here. Playing golf on Sunday with Ryan. Him and I got an early morning tee time coming up this weekend. He could have new irons in play. This is a developing situation for your partner. He's not had new irons since high school. For us, that would be 17 years.
Yeah, 16, 17 years. Yeah.
He's been playing the same clubs for that long. He had like a couple of his irons were effectively the same loft. He's just been beating the shit out of him for 17 years.
You swing as flat as him, it's going to start bending those clubs a little bit.
Yeah. So he's, he got, a little loft lie angle adjustment. He throttled back from the full blades to something a little comfier, a little more forgiving.
Which he should have done for the record, should have done a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, long time ago.
I hope I don't know if he'll get him in time for this weekend, but if he does, I'll have a full report for you at some point on Sunday.
Yeah, I'd love to join you guys on Sunday. That might get me murdered before going on my trip, considering I'm leaving at 10 p.m. that day, but I'll be jealous. I haven't played a lot of golf at our place this year. So
I mean, if you want to get risky, there'll be an entire ocean between the two of you at some point. So like,
just do it and leave.
Yeah, just out of sight, out of mind. She won't be mad anymore when you get back.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm kidding, of course. So yeah, looking forward to more golf coming up, and I think it's time now. I think we can dive a little bit into some professional golf. Real quick, we'll just kind of recap the Truist just to get our bearings here before we dive into PGA Championship. Sepp Straka won, second win on tour this year. His first kind of like real, I would say like big event.
Oh yeah, yep.
But man, fourth career win now. He won by 2 shots. It was at a new golf course they not played on tour before at Philadelphia Cricket Club, which looked awesome.
That place looks phenomenal. Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just the Northeastern course. I don't know if
it is. Really it's your typical, like East Coast old country club. It's a phenomenal setting. I wish we had better conditions, just with soft and stuff like that. Those guys, 7,100 yards for them and soft conditions is just, I mean, there's going to pick it. They're just going to pick it apart. Now, if that course gets a little firm, might be a little different story. I don't know if the scoring would have been as low as it was.
Yeah, I mean, 16 under is pretty acceptable for me.
Yeah, it is. It's not like, 24, 25. When it gets to that, it's, or 20, anything over 20, it's kind of boring.
Which is kind of to that point, the course on my hat, Valhalla, the PGA, similar conditions, very wet, and those guys, took it pretty deep. So
yeah,
I think this is more proof that a course like Philly Cricket Club can still hold up despite some of the advantages that players in the tour have.
In my mind, what I was thinking the whole time this weekend was like, why isn't Quail Hollow hosting this weekend and Philadelphia Cricket Club is hosting next weekend? That was my thought the entire time. I mean, because I think it would be a perfect PGA course. I really do. I mean, you get it to play a little tougher. Maybe you got some firmer conditions. Next thing you know, you got a PGA Championship that's at 11, 12 under, which I think the identity of the PGA Championship is that, right? It's a test, but guys can still get under par. It's not the U.S. Open. I think it would be a perfect PGA venue.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm hopeful that as things develop and move on, and maybe they do some stuff with the golf ball and things like that, that maybe it kind of opens up the tour and really, honestly, the majors to take it. There's only 2 of them in the U.S. that rotate places. Like U.S. Open feels like they got a pretty good strategy in place for this stuff, but the PGA, I think, we don't have to go to Quail every 5-6 years or whatever. We don't have to go to Valhalla. No. Like, let's take it to some of these, these more interesting tracks. I'll put it that way.
Yep. I agree. It's PGA, I think, has got to sit down. This is back-to-back years that we're kind of looking at it and going, Valhalla was fun for us because we got to go. I think that made it it pulled some wool over our eyes a little bit, being able to be there and things like that. But yeah, the PGA back-to-back years, questionable.
Yeah,
very.
Total agreement. Especially when it goes to a course. I mean, we'll get to Quail, but I don't like very much when majors go to courses that they regularly play.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either. Yeah, it's like we see this every year, right? It's kind of one of those things.
Yeah,
something new. You know,
Pebble, the U.S. Open at Pebble might be the one exception to that, but
probably. Yeah.
Sepp Straka, again, like I said, he won by 2 over Shane Lowry and Justin Thomas. Those two guys, both very much in it. Both kind of had their own like undoings late on Sunday, but still very good golf from the two of them. Also, one more note on Sepp Straka. He's now up to 5th in the Ryder Cup standings, which is kind of wild when you think about, I mean, just how much he's ascended.
Yeah.
Over the last 2-3 years, really.
Guy's a flusher, man. He's a flusher of the golf ball. He's one of the guys in like the Ryder Cup that just makes me very nervous. He's just kind of one of those guys that is we talked about it. He's just gonna hit greens and he's just gonna green in regulation you to death. I mean, he's gonna fairway and green in regulation you to death. And then that's how you like lose matches big, because then you start feeling like you have to hit the ball closer, and things like that. And that's when you lose like your 5 and 4s, your 6 and 5. Like that's when it really starts to slip away fast.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the big like misnomers in match play or myths of match play is like, obviously if a guy's making a lot of putts, sure, that's helpful. But one of the big myths is that like these guys make putts to win these matches.
Yeah.
And that's what defines the match. It's really like the guys are just going to hit fairways and greens on you all day.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. They're just not out of a hole ever.
Yeah. He's not as volatile as some of the players on our team. Let's just put it that way.
Correct. Oh, man. A lot of time for Ryder Cup talk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, top 5s and notables. Already mentioned JT and Shane Lowry. T4 were Tommy Fleetwood, Patrick Cantlay, and Jacob Bridgman. Interesting name there. Winner on tour this year.
By the way, thought we were going to have another Scotty Scheffler incident on our hands. Tommy Fleetwood hit a police officer with a golf ball this weekend. Did you see that?
Yeah. Man, I don't know what to say.
Going to have to replace that uniform. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think Tommy would back the blue if you asked him.
I would agree. I would guess too. It was just a funny situation. It's kind of funny. They were showing Rory's shot over there, and then you just see everybody like ducking, and then the ball bouncing and hitting the cop. It was kind of a cool moment, but a kind of one of those things that we don't see a lot on the golf courses they play every week is, you get on a country club like that, those holes are kind of close. They run side by side, and you can kind of get some of that stuff on those old style country clubs.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and then so big name here, T7, Rory McIlroy, your Masters champion.
He's on a heater.
Bogey-free final 28 holes. This was, I would argue, the best finish Rory could have had. Very like stress-free T7, wasn't really in it. Seems very, very proper game right now for a major.
It feels like everybody is going to lay the hammer on him this weekend. Is what it kind of feels like.
Look, if you listen to the show before, you already know my affinity for Rory. I've been slowly betting him with FanDuel boosts for the last like 4 weeks to build up a little nest egg. But yeah, so I'm very happy with where he's at. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I don't think he could be coming into this tournament any stronger. And then obviously, he's proven to play well at Quail. He's won there before. So
yeah, so he won the tournament there last year, right? 2023 was 47, but before that, 5th, 1st, 8th, 16th, 4th, 1st, 8th, 10th, 2nd.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna be minus odds probably for a top 5. It's going to be some pretty hefty odds on him, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Not a lot of chance to make money on him unless, I suppose, if you've been, cost averaging your bets like you have for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get to remind me about some stats I want to talk about when we get back to the PGA Championship here. T11 Xander. Slowly been rounding into form the last month or so.
Maybe getting over the injury a little bit.
Yeah, see if he's past that. T17 for Colin Morikawa, just kind of ho-hum. Don't think he did anything awesome. Nothing bad. Interesting to see how he plays at Quail. I don't know about the course fit, but just seems to be a guy that's going to not make mistakes and could be there. Jordan Spieth, T34, big popular name this week for this tournament. We kind of saw the writing on the wall and dodged that bullet. Unfortunately, we took a different bullet. But Spieth was just truly like abysmal on approach play. Like,
it was not good.
No, he was basically all the scoring he did this week was around the green, and that's not the way you're gonna win a PGA Championship. So, and then final notable here, T54 for Victor Hovland, absolute ass, unmitigated ass, chipping and putting.
Yeah,
horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, on hindsight's 2020, right? But you kind of needed a short game around that place. That was on us. We'll take this. That was on us. We put him in a situation where he was not going to succeed.
I feel like you put me in a situation.
I put us all in a situation, Victor included, for us to not succeed.
I didn't separate the bunker play out of it. I don't know how good or bad he was, but I did say this course had the most bunkers they'd see on tour in years, which was worrisome for Victor. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, gosh, it was, just watching. You see guys going, Keith Mitchell going low the first day. It's like, and our guy, Victor's just plunking along at like even par. It's like, I know there's more scoring holes out there than that. Like it was frustrating to watch. But again, we're going to collect a little paycheck. We're going to make the mortgage payment this month. It's not going to move us up the leaderboard any.
No, it moved us back. Well, I'll just touch on this real quick. We collected our customary $44,000.
Hell yeah.
We dropped all the way to 4,018th place. Just truly remarkable how bad we are.
It's an honest living. That's I mean, can't be said enough. We are making an honest living on the PGA Tour. Unfortunately, we are not doing very well in a one and done. So
no, but we'll have another opportunity to pick somebody this week. So if you want to make $40K for your run and done pool, tail us.
Just follow us. Look, hey, we're not missing cuts. So the guy we give you is not going to miss the cut. Unfortunately, 40th is about the ceiling of what they're going to reach, unfortunately. So
exactly. All right. PGA Championship. As mentioned, we are at Quail Hollow Golf Club near Charlotte, North Carolina. Before we get into this buy or sell segment real quick, I do want to just run down. I'm gonna test your brain here a little bit. I've got in front of me strokes gained stats for the last 6 tournaments held at Quail Hollow. That includes the 2017 PGA Championship. Who do you think leads the way in total strokes gained? I'm going to give you the top 10, but see how many you can guess in the top 10.
So from what date to now? This
goes all the way back to the 2017 PGA Championship.
In PGA Championships, okay.
Right. It's all Quail Hollow.
Oh, Quail Hollow. Well, obviously Rory's up there.
He is number 1.
Yeah, that was probably a given after what you just said. Yeah. I'm going to go with our guy that he's probably in the top 10, but Victor Hovland.
Victor Hovland, no. He's played 12 of those 24 rounds. He is 17th strokes gained total.
Okay.
He is 5th off the tee, 26 in approach, and not shocking, 130th around the greens.
Our guy he's got the chipping yips again. I don't know what to do with him. But anyway, all right. So not Victor Hovland.
Nope.
It's not Xander, is it? There's Xander in the I figured he's played pretty good. Yeah.
Yep.
He's played pretty good at Quail. I'm kind of maybe Wyndham Clark.
That's actually, I would think that'd be a good guess, but it does not. He's 25th.
Okay. I'll guess one more. I'm going to go with our guy Jordan.
Shocking that you would pick Jordan Spieth. Let me see. Let me scroll. 45th.
Okay.
He's shockingly been good off the tee here, which is seriously surprising.
That's very surprising.
It's a bomber's track for sure, but he's been so bad on approach. 152nd out of everybody playing this field. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's not good.
Jason Day, second on this list.
Oh, okay.
He's been a bit of a Quail Hollow merchant. JT third on this list. He won the PGA here.
Yeah, I was thinking JT. I probably should have been one of my guesses.
Yeah, you're going to see a couple names that popped up during that tournament, including Patrick Reed, who came, I believe, second in that PGA Championship.
Okay.
Ricky Fowler got his first career tour win here. He's fifth all-time strokes gained in this field. Gary Woodland, sixth. Makes sense. Bomber of the golf ball.
Yeah, yep. I mean, it's not super surprising. Yep.
And then in just 14 rounds, Bryson DeChambeau.
That's not surprising. That's the least surprising thing in the world. Yeah.
Yep. I will say, just of note, among those of these players in the field, he is first in strokes gained putting over the sample.
So yeah, So I saw a stat today. It was like inside 10 feet at Quail Hollow. The average make percentage was like 10 to 12 feet. It was like 28% for all the guys on the PGA Tour. Bryson DeChambeau was over 60% make from inside. I think it was inside 12 feet at Quail Hollow.
Interesting. So I wonder if that's, I mean, he's gaining almost. Oh, geez. Oh wait, that's the wrong stat. Sorry. Hold on. Yeah, he's picking up almost like 1.2 shots per round.
He's putted well. He's putted well here.
Yeah, that's interesting. Hideki, seventh in this model. He was also right there with Patrick Reed and JT that Sunday. I already mentioned Xander, and then also Keith Mitchell, who was first off the tee in 16 rounds played here.
Okay, well, that's surprising. I would think. That's probably the most surprising name on that list. Maybe outside of Ricky. Ricky's, I'm not going to lie, Ricky's a little surprising.
Yeah, and we had Hideki and Bryson were tied for seventh, by the way, in strokes gained total during that time. But anyway, I thought that was an interesting list.
Yeah.
If you want to go a couple past that, some interesting names pop up. Justin Rose, Phil Mickelson, Sergio Garcia, Max Homa, who also has a win at Quail, and then randomly Seamus Power.
Wow, that is a random name.
Yeah, so
don't Justin Rose play this week again. I think
he withdrew. I don't know if.
Oh, did he? Okay, I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, either he withdrew or he finished pretty low. But yeah, I can actually figure that out for you real quick.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we've already taken Bryson in our one and done. I'm just trying to think of some names. I think he would probably be a pretty good play here this week. He had our best finish this year in the one and done. That was also topped with what did he shoot on the back nine on Sunday? Like 40.
Yeah, just
so, he probably cost us $500,000 by shooting a back 940 at the Masters. So
easily. Okay, well that's a good transition. We can, as we talk through some of these storylines, maybe our one and done will emerge here. All right, I'm just gonna. This is the buy or sell segment. I've got like 8 or so of these, kind of like the lead, I would imagine, storylines coming in. I'm just going to say a statement, and you tell me if you're buying or selling. First up, Rory McIlroy will win, keeping the single-season Grand Slam hopes alive.
I want to buy this so bad. I think if there's anybody that could do it, it would be him. But I'm selling it. It's just, you start pulling these live guys in again. It just, the fields just get, and I'm not trying to discount what he's done this year so far, but the fields just get tougher. They just do. So I'm selling this, but I don't want to. I don't want to. I want to buy it. It's like that nice sports car that you don't need, but you want to buy it. That's kind of what this is. But I'm going to make the responsible decision here and sell this.
Yeah, I'm taking out a second mortgage and I'm buying this just like that sports car. The smart money is what you just said, right? It's the field's gonna be tougher. I know he's got that major monkey off his back, the Grand Slam, monkey off the back. But I imagine once he gets back, if he is back in contention, it's still gonna be nervy and tough to win. It's not like he's gonna flip a switch and be able to win all these now. That said, I'm really curious to see if is he freed up a little bit, because he was contending in all these when he had those monkeys on his back. And now that they are gone, I wonder if it's just like that much easier that it's enough to make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he'll probably play a little more loose, but I just, again, it's kind of one of those things. You get more top guys out there. There's bound to be a guy out of those guys that has a week, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
while they might not be more talented than him, they just having a week where it's going to be, it's going to be hard to win. Majors are not easy to win, period. Now that we kind of get these guys that kind of funnel back in for 4 events a year, you kind of don't get those fields as often. So not like a shock to the system, but it definitely is something they're probably thinking about, right? Like, okay, we've got more of the top guys here than we normally have. Like just like last week, Scotty didn't play last week, right? So even at an elevated event, you didn't even have like a full top of the line guys that were playing in that field. So I just think it's going to be so hard. But again, if there's anybody that could do it, it'd be him. So that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, that's good analysis there. Speaking of Scotty Scheffler, he is here this week. So, buying or selling, Scotty Scheffler will win his first non-Masters major this week.
I think I'm selling this one too.
Okay.
Again, I want to be a buyer. It's not felt the same this year. It feels like he's taken a couple steps. Now, he was so far ahead of everybody. Taking a couple steps back is not like the end of the world, obviously, but it just doesn't feel like his game is ready to win a major right now. That's kind of my gut feeling behind it.
Yeah, I mean, he just like blitzed the field 2 weeks ago down in Texas, but very comfy place.
Yeah,
not a strong field.
Yeah.
Looked very much like himself, which was, good signs. But notably, he's never played Quail Hollow except for once at the President's Cup a couple years ago. So, I just wonder, there's so many guys at the top of this odds board that have experience on this course and are able to like translate that to this tournament versus Scotty showing up kind of fresh.
Yeah.
We have a lot of bad weather. Like his prep time is going to be a little bit less. They closed the course today.
Yeah, it was downpours today. Yep.
It's the anniversary of his arrest. Like, who knows how that's going to weigh on him? He might be a little more on edge.
Looking behind us, looking behind him every once in a while.
Looking over the shoulder, I don't know. I'm going to sell as well. Obviously, he's, the favorite or the co-favorite for a reason. But I think I'm just going to take all the horses around him this week.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that.
All right. Third up. Are we buying or selling Bryson DeChambeau as the third favorite this week? I think last I looked, he was like plus 700. Rory and Scotty, right around plus 500. Very close third favorite.
I'm buying this. I think, look, he has proven that even with the light schedule of Live, that he kind of stays game ready. He kind of stays game ready for these tournaments. And then you throw in the fact that he's, number one in shots gained putting at Quail Hollow. I'm buying this. I would even say, with how Scotty's up and down this year has gone, I would even say it wouldn't surprise me that if he somehow worked his way to even with Scotty at some point, maybe if you get some larger bets come in at the before the start of the tournament. I'm 100% buying this. I think he's definitely easily the third best player in the field behind those two guys.
Yeah, I mean, as recent as this weekend, I'm pretty sure you could still get him up close to like 20-1. Like he was in the mid-teens, upper teens. So massive, cut on the odds here.
And I think this is a big tournament for him. I think he plays well here this week. He pretty much locks up the Ryder Cup. I think. I think he probably already has it locked, but I think points wise, he gets a top 5. I think he's pretty much set. So big week for him, but I definitely think he's at least the third best player in this field.
Yeah, I'm going to buy that as well. I think just if you look at the last, year and a half, 2 years of majors, it's hard to find someone who's been more consistent than him.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against that. Maybe at the Open, you can probably bet against him. He's never really played well there, but at a PGA, I think it's a given that he's going to probably have a pretty good week.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about his putting splits here. He bombs the shit out of it, obviously. Thick rough. Like, he's done it on these types of courses before. Last year, Valhalla, similar situation.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it lines up really well for him. I hate that number now. Wish I maybe would have dabbled earlier. But I think he's rightfully the third favorite right now.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, buying or selling? His live compatriot, Jon Rahm, in the top 5 of the odds board. Most places currently have him 4th right now.
I mean, again, I think this is a little different than Bryson. Talent-wise, 100%. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. One of those guys that seems to struggle to stay game ready by playing in these live events. Bryson's done a really good job at it. Rahm struggled a little bit, and you can kind of tell over his, since he's left for live, his majors has just been not good. Like, for the most part, not good. So he's kind of struggled to stay game ready with these live events. I would sell this though. I until he proves otherwise, I don't think I could rightfully take any bet on him this week.
No, I'm 100% with you. I would definitely sell it. I don't think we've seen. I mean, he kind of popped up. What was it? The Open that Brian Harmon won.
Yeah.
Was that last year? God.
No, 2 years ago.
Okay, time's a flat circle. Yeah, Xander won last year.
Yeah, Xander won last year. Yeah, remember I got buried. So
that's right. Yeah, I think that's kind of really the last time it feels like he's actually contended in a major. He hasn't really been around. So yeah,
and that was kind of like a faux contention. Like, I love Brian Harmon. You hate him, but like he kind of ran away with that, right? Like there was no point you're like, oh, this is even close, even though Rahm was kind of, not far behind.
Yeah, it just seems like he's had either just non-competitive or like it's been like in the Olympics, right? Where he like was there, it looked like he was going to be a clear winner and then just combusted. So
yep.
I think until he kind of gets back in the mix, I'm gonna let him miss me. I've fallen for this trap already a couple times recently. I'll let
it's just, talent level. Yeah, I 100% agree. He's probably top 5 best player at this tournament. Just the way he's contended in majors recently, I think I'm out on it.
Yeah, he's currently the 4th favorite, 18-1. Would you rather bet him or Xander Schauffele?
Xander, 100%.
Jon Rahm or JT?
JT, probably.
Jon Rahm or Colin Morikawa?
That's where I would probably draw the line. I'd probably take Rahm in that situation.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where he would better. I think he'd better fit in the mid-20s right now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's probably a pretty good place for him.
Speaking of Xander Schauffele, are we buying or selling his chances to defend his title?
Man, aside from the injury stuff, it seems like he's maybe over that. I'd probably buy this, but I think I'm going to sell it. It's so hard to repeat at a major. I know we're playing at different golf courses and things. It's one thing to talk about repeating at the Masters, you playing the same golf course, but it's kind of hard to translate that from Valhalla to here, even though they're very similar, I think, in ways. Yeah, I'm going to sell it. It's so hard to go back to back on these things.
Yeah, since he kind of came out and said like everything about his game sucked at the Players, he has gone T12 at Valspar, T8 at the Masters, T18 at the RBC Heritage, and T11 this week at the Truist. Definitely trending in the right direction. I don't know, how likely he is to just put it all together at a major. He just seems to have he's doing the whack-a-mole thing right now with his game, where he's typically very consistent across the board strokes gained. He just has one kind of facet each week that he seems like he's battling with. This past week, it was a short game, hit it really well, played it pretty good. But I just think he's going to need the full arsenal to take down, an in-form Scotty, Rory, Bryson, to mix it with those guys right now.
Yep, I'd agree with that.
I want to buy, but I think I'm kind of just being a little more pensive.
Yeah, and it's just hard. I mean, just repeating anything, any kind of major is so hard. So hard.
Yeah, totally agree. He's got a Champions dinner to worry about. They do that at the PGA too. So, all right. Are we buying or selling JT's revival and current form being legit.
I'm buying this. I really wanted. I was watching yesterday, and I think he was like 2 or 3 back, and I really wanted to place a live bet on it. I just never got around to it. I'm buying it. It feels like we might be real close to being back, for him. Maybe a win this week. It's, people feel way differently about him heading into the Open. I'm buying this for sure. I think he hit rock bottom, and I think we've bounced back. We're heading in the right direction.
I think so too. Put it in back on a course where he's won a PGA Championship. It would be really strange for him to have 3 majors, all being PGAs, and 2 of them on the same course.
Yeah.
But I totally could. I could see him, holding the trophy at the end of the week for sure.
Well, and I think
him and Xander are both. Sorry, him and Xander are both 22-1 right now. I feel like those are very fair numbers. I think those are
super fair.
They might get bet down as the week goes on here.
I could see that for sure. Yeah, and JT it's just like this extra curricular as far as like his connection to the PGA of America through his dad and his family. Just seems like it, like, something. A lot of Masters means more to a lot of people, right? This feels like it just means more to him. I don't know, and it's kind of one of those things. He's kind of catching some momentum, and you're going into a course he's won at this tournament at before, and he just loves PGAs. So I'm 100% buying this, and I think I would love him at for the Open this year too. I think as long as he keeps this current trajectory, I would. Yeah,
100% with you. When he is at his peak, which right now he's back to striking it and chipping it really well, and the putter has come along and just not been horrific. He's one of the more creative players, one of the better ball strikers on tour. So I expect this to stick around, and I think he'll be competitive at the remaining 3 majors
for sure. Yep.
All right, last one. Always have to ask. We get to the PGA Championship. We buying or selling that Jordan Spieth will complete the career Grand Slam? Not necessarily this week, just ever.
Oh, our guy is so lost. We're both dads. You're about to be a new dad again. It's tough, and I thought, and maybe that's what Scotty's going through a little bit, right? New dad, but he's just lost. Like it just. I don't know where that golfer went. And, like JT, when JT was kind of going through it a little bit, you kind of saw flashes of like, okay, there it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he'd have like a week where it was like, okay, he's kind of figuring things out. Have we really seen that from Jordan? And like, we'll say the last 2 years. I know he had some injuries last year. But man, it doesn't, you don't even see a flash of it. Like that's the problem. So I would say I want to buy so bad that he will eventually do it. I don't know. I don't know. And maybe that injury's lingering a little bit. He's a new dad, like all the whole mix of that. I want to buy, and I want to bet this so bad this week that he'll do it. I think it would be an incredible story, but there's no way I'm going to have to sell against our guy here.
Yeah. It's tough to convince yourself to buy. He's not won since the 2022 RBC Heritage. That's over 3 years at this point. Obviously dealt with the surgery in the wrist last year. Had it pop back up a couple times earlier this season.
Yeah.
Haven't seen much about it recently, but he just he'll go on these little mini runs where it's like, oh man, I want to believe again.
Yeah.
And then it's like you have what happened this week where he hit like the block of all blocks, just beyond Adam Wainwright, just way like that's the Tractor Supply ball is what he hit. And I just don't, the approach being as bad as it was last week. I don't. It's not happening this year. This is not the track for it.
No.
If we get, I think they're going to like Aronimink coming up.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one, by the way.
If we can get to a more classic course,
maybe
that doesn't require length and it's heavy rough and whatever, I think he can compete. Purely because I'm not going to give up the ship yet. I'm going to buy that he's going to do it someday. How awesome would it be if we get Rory and Jordan back to back, closing out the career Grand Slam?
Look, I want that so badly. I'm like, look, as much as you're a Rory fan, I'm a Jordan fan. Just, I want it so badly for him. I might want it, like, it's him that wants it the most, right? I might be like second or third in line. He went through a run there when he was winning these majors that was like, this guy is like incredible. He's fun to watch. Nothing is not exciting, right? And I want that back so badly. And I know if he wins, like, it's going to be in like a dramatic fashion. He's going to be, making putts. I want that so badly. I think it'd be an incredible story if we had two guys close it out. But it's not easy for a reason. And there's only a handful of guys that have done it. Things happen in golf, including injury, family, all kinds of stuff. So I want it, but I don't think it's going to happen here. I really hope at some point it does, but I just don't feel like this is the track for it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree with you there for sure. All right, it's about that time. I think we've talked through some good amount of the odds, a good amount of the stories. Actually, before I ask you this question, anything else you want to just chuck out there? Any players to watch? Anybody you got your eye on? Anything from down the road?
No, it feels like we could get a really good leaderboard this week. I know people hate on Quail Hollow, and I don't like it. I don't like Quail. But I do think that it could lead to a pretty saucy leaderboard. I think it's going to allow the top guys to play well, and I think not necessarily knock out some of the guys that you're not expecting, but I just think that it allows for the better players to play good, and it's going to keep a pretty hefty leaderboard. That's what I'm excited about. But a lot of Charlotte hate getting thrown out there. A lot of Quail Hollow hate this week. Rightfully so. I just, again, like you kind of hit on it before, I don't typically enjoy going to a course that we see every year. We want to see something different, but Charlotte stole Cincinnati's Queen City title, which is just asinine for the record. Just fake news. I mean, Charlotte is home to the worst airport in the world too, and you can't. We speak about hills we'll die on. I will die on that hill for sure. But that's about it. No, I think I'm just excited. I think we will get a really good leaderboard. I think that's kind of my prediction overall. No one in particular I'm rooting for other than obviously the normal guys like Jordan or whatever. But I wouldn't mind watching Bryson win a tournament. I win a PGA. So
no, I'm with you. I will say, just because it is one of those places that is a regular tour stop, I think that could bring in enough variance that we could get kind of a weird winner, They could, yeah, just some people with experience out there. But I think that still, even if we get a weird winner, I still think the leaderboard's going to be really good. I agree with you. And I think it's just the setup is designed basically to get these.
Yeah.
It's one of these, it's just like Torrey Pines, right? Where it's like, we don't love the course, but like, man, it will deliver you a good tournament come Sunday.
Yep. 100%.
That's just the way it is.
Yep.
So yeah, watch out for Keith Mitchell. Like I said, that's your bomb of the week. He is leading. Yeah, I learned this week. He's leading the tour in first round scoring average. So we get a little ball in hand possibly on Thursday with the weather coming through. Watch out.
Oh boy. Oh my God. Oh, and shout out to the PGA professionals that are playing this week. The guys are slinging polos, and they get their chance in the. Some of these guys get their chance in the spotlight this week. I think that's the coolest part about the PGA Championship is you get these. You get the pro shop workers out there, and Bob Soward from Ohio is going to be in the field. Incredible player. He's not a young guy either, so I think it's even more incredible that he qualified this year. We get our old friend Michael Block back this year. He qualified. He's got his son on the bag. His son skipped conference championships at his college to caddy for him in the club professional tournament, and they qualified. He's going to be back on the bag this week. I think that's always really cool to watch these club pros go out there. And if you get a couple make the cut, I think that's always fun.
Yeah, Michael Block back. Who knew? Just, what, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that seems like it was like last year, but it was a few years ago at this point.
Yeah, man. All right, well, now it's time. What headline are we reading on Monday morning?
Oh God, you go first. My brain doesn't work as fast as yours.
Well, the following question was going to be who's your pick to win. I think they go hand in hand here anyway. Obviously, my pick to win is going to be Rory McIlroy. My headline will be he's halfway there because we'll be halfway to the Grand Slam this year.
God, hey, can you just hop off of Rory just for like
No, I'm feeling
30
really,
seconds?
Look, did this for like 10 years, man. All right, now that it's happened and I can get back and got to ride for my guy when it's I got to ride the peaks when I've been there in the valleys. You know what I mean?
You're like the typical like a team has like a good 2-year run and the fans just become unbearable, like Seahawks fans, right? Like they had their like 4 or 5 year run and like all of a sudden they think they're like one of the best organizations in NFL and it's like dude, get it, like your history began 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So, but okay, I guess if I had to go with a headline, yeah, man, I want to do a Spieth headline so bad. I want to do it. No, I think I would go with this. Bryson tops heavy leaderboard. I think he's gonna, he'll be up there, and I think he's gonna kind of come on top with some of these other guys that, or maybe Bryson tops viral leaderboard. Get the YouTube play in there. Okay. So I think we're gonna have a really good leaderboard. I think Bryson's overdue. He came pretty close last year. He's clearly playing well enough. He just won in Korea on Live. I think he's gonna pull it out this week.
Yeah, he has 2 U.S. Opens, correct? No other majors. So, yeah, that'd be a good trophy for him to snag, for sure. All right, one and done time. We're in trouble. We basically our options are we take a Live guy or we take Xander Schauffele. That's pretty much what we're down to.
I think we go Live here. I think we kind of have to.
Yeah, the problem becomes
who.
Yeah, because it's like
not trying to sound like an owl over here, but
yeah, because it's John Rahm topping the odds, of course, but then beyond that, it's like, all right, is Joaquin Niemann really going to get his first top 10 in a major?
Hey, best player in the world, though.
I've heard that.
Heard that from some people.
Do we take Brooks to come from the clouds and just show up finally? He's played like ass.
Yeah, God.
Tyrrell Hatton. Probably the best on form of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, we have not taken Rahm yet.
We've not taken Rahm, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not.
You don't feel that? I know we were selling. we were selling them not that long ago.
I'd rather him show me something and then we burn him at the U.S. Open or something.
Yeah, I can see that. Man, it kind of feels like a Xander week. I don't know. But again, we just kind of sold on him too, winning 2 in a row. So I don't know. It's not Niemann, I can tell you that right now.
I'm with you. I don't want to take Niemann. That's for sure. Okay, so for what it's worth, John Rahm has not had very good history here. He's
okay. Then he's out.
Rounds. He's missed a cut.
He's out. He's a U.S. Open. We'll use him at the U.S. Open or something.
God, we could be. Tyrrell Hatton, 16th most strokes gained total here.
Is this where we're stupid at this point? I mean, this feels gross. I'm gonna have to shower after this episode.
He missed the cut the last time it was a major here. T42 in 2018, the year after, but T3 in 2023. Obviously, a much better player at that point. Should we just? Oh God! If we really want to watch the world burn, should we just take Spieth?
We're going through these names.
Let's do it.
We're going through these names and none of them feel right. The only one that feels relatively right is Xander. I don't think he's going to win, but his floor feels pretty high,
I'm with you on Xander makes a lot of sense. Could be popular, pretty available player. I'm just kind of clicking through some names right now.
But like none of those live guys, like I'm like, oh yeah, that feels like someone we should take. Tyrrell, I know he's probably form wise, probably the best. I'm not excited about that.
Do you want? I mean, if we want to also, this is another you want to get wild situation, but a good player here, Jason Day.
You know, of all the names we said, I mean, outside of Xander, he's the only other one that I like. You've said that I kind of feel okay about.
I don't. He just withdrew from the Truist. I don't know why.
So that doesn't make me feel great.
That's my only concern.
If things start going south, is he going to withdraw? You know what I mean? That would be killer. I think we got to take Xander here. I really do. Yeah, I don't really like him at the U.S. Open. I don't really like him at Royal Port Rush. I think it feels like we kind of have to burn him here.
Yeah, I mean, this list is so. It's so we've burned so many of the big guns, and
because we're trying. Like we're forcing things. That's the problem. That's where we're at.
Yeah, and Xander, he's only 68% available, so I think he's
okay. I think we kind of gotta, and people are probably gonna save him maybe for down the line. So I don't know if he's gonna be as popular as you think. I think people are kind of in the same line with us, like. Doesn't feel like a guy that's going to win back-to-back, but
yeah,
of all the names we've named, it would be like Xander and Jason Day I felt the best about as far as like obviously course history, but I feel like it's got to be Xander. None of the live guys on this course make me feel good.
Yeah,
if we had Bryson, I would say yes, but
100%. Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, we'll take Xander. We'll do Xander. So that's our official one and done pick of the week for the PGA Championship. So if you want to make $40K, there you go. Take
just place a made cut bet on them.
Yeah, that's the only play for you. All right. Well, we're gonna get to some fan mail. Got a couple that came through. So first up, you know what? Shout out to our boy Gunth. Since the last time we had an episode, he became a father.
He did.
Massive congrats to him and Chandler. Beautiful baby girl.
Campbell, also known as Pookie, also known as baby girl Gunth. That's
many names.
She goes by many names, and she's only about a week old. So
as she should. He wrote in talking about the you had the question last week about golf course stuff related to golf courses that just makes the property cooler or whatever.
Yeah, essentially non-golf related. Yep.
Massive tongue in cheek from our guy here.
Big miss.
Talking about iconic food items. I think he's being serious about the milkshakes at Muirfield. I think the rest of these are just kind of tongue-in-cheek jokes, but I'll shout him out anyway.
No, I don't think they are. I really don't think they are. I think he's dead serious about this.
All right, breakfast sandwiches at Glenview. These are local, so sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry for anybody that's not in Cincinnati.
Those are elite.
I told you. I mean, I worked there since I was 15 years old. There's nothing in this world, including Miller Lite, that I've spent more money on than a breakfast sandwich from Glenview. Just from the mornings that I've played there and working there, like it was I would skip breakfast to go eat breakfast at the course every single time.
Yeah,
they are elite breakfast sandwiches for sure.
Shout out to the now long gone Weather Wax. That's where we play a lot of our tournament golf in high school. They had the wax burger, also very elite,
top tier burger. Yeah,
I think something that's kind of gone by the wayside. A lot of these, like the grills at the public courses,
gone.
The same as they used to be.
No. You know, Weather Wax had the best tasting fountain Pepsi as well. Their Pepsi. I don't know if it was like the water that they use at Middletown or whatever. So shout out to their water processing plant, but their Pepsi fountain, like, and I'm not even a big Pepsi guy, was top tier.
Yeah, and this is where I think he's making a bit of a joke, but he does mention cold cuts at the Elks. So
yeah, that's the joke.
There's the punchline.
Yeah, but I think about it. You know, you got the milkshakes at Muirfield. You know, I guess you could say this. I think it's more of a fan food, but like, you know, you get to the Masters, a pimento cheese sandwich. Like, there's just food items that you kind of link with certain courses that, and I'm sure like people that are not in Cincinnati have local courses that are like, oh yeah, this place has got, you know, the best hot dogs or the best hamburgers or whatever.
Yeah, is it Olympic or Harding Park that has like the burger dog? It's one of those two.
I think it's Harding Park. I could be wrong about that.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's tons of examples.
Yeah, it feels like a miss on our part. We talked about benches or well-placed benches and, signs, Bethpage black sign that says like warning or whatever, like iconic stuff that's not essentially golf related. I think we hit pretty much all of them, but we missed on the food one for sure.
Yeah, I think going back to some more infrastructure, one that I thought of after the fact, clocks, man.
You got to have a good clock. Yeah. The Rolex clock or,
ours is, I think ours might be like a Verdon company one.
Yeah.
A local Cincinnati. They do like bells, clocks, things like that.
Yep.
Shout out to them.
But a stylish clock out by the first tee is always a must. I think that's a good addition to a golf course.
Yeah, just super classy look for sure. And then one more in fan mail. Shout out to our guy John. Always listening, always sending in great questions. I thought about this for a while. I don't know that I have an answer, so I'm curious what yours is. John wants to know, what is your go-to positive thought or routine after a blow-up hole? So how do you mentally reset after you have a bad shot or a bad hole?
I hand my business card to the homeowner.
Calling my insurance company.
Yeah. Well, first things first. Sometimes that's easier said than done, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're playing really well and you have a missed shot, you're like, look, we're fine. Like we'll get it back. I'm not really worried about it. If things are going bad and they get worse, that's when it becomes a lot harder. Typically my thought, and I'm kind of keeping it more like swing related. Like I try to stop kind of thinking over the ball, right? Like I get to my next shot. It's like, look, that's long gone. Like we're going to be an athlete here and swing the golf club, like not think about much, just kind of let it go. That's kind of my thought. We always kid, like be an athlete. It's kind of the thought I have. Like usually a bad shot comes from overthinking, maybe thinking about too many swing variances, what you need to do and things like that. So yeah, sometimes like if I start to struggle a little bit, I'm like, all right, I got to go be an athlete. Like stop thinking, let's just go, hit the ball how we know how to hit or putt it like we know how to putt it. That typically helps me get over it and kind of gets my mind off the bad shot. I have this thing too, like if I get real worked up, like I count down from 10. Like I've done that before. Like, all right, like we're going to slow count this down from 10 to kind of get the anger butterflies out of our head. I've done that before. It's always seemed to work. But yeah, I think mine's just like, all right, like remove all swing thoughts out of the head and like, just go swing the golf club. It helps me kind of get my mind off of like a bad shot or whatever.
Yeah, I would say my answer. So assuming you've already purchased your back 9 6-pack, we'll assume that you've done that.
Yeah. That's in the yeah. We're assuming that. Yes.
Then the answer becomes it's a process over results thing, right? Like you have to commit to the process, but you have to accept the result.
Yes.
You got to know. For me, I'm a 6-7 handicap, trying to get better. Whatever. I'm gonna have bad scores, bad holes, bad swings. Like that stuff's gonna happen. The rounds that I've played the best is when I'm able, like, they're the ones where I'm more capable mentally of accepting that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I would rather, instead of wasting your time and energy on moping around or being, thinking about it or whatever, I'd rather sit on the patio at the end and be like, man, I shot 80 today, but if I didn't have that quad, like it would have been a good round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather have that instead of letting it snowball into, well, I made that quad and then I had 6 doubles because I just, I couldn't get over it mentally or whatever. So I think, like I said, commit to the process you're doing and just accept what the results are, good or bad.
And I think part of that too is like, I kind of start thinking about like, you can let one shot kind of ruin you, but I've always thought of myself as a grinder. And it's like, okay, if I can look myself in the mirror at the end of this round, like I think I've done, I've kind of grinded it out as hard as I possibly could. And it's really hard to look at yourself in the mirror as like, I got pissed on hole 4 because I kind of hit some wayward shots and then just never got over it the rest of the round. I think that's harder to look yourself in the mirror if you do that. So I kind of think of that like, all right, like I'm a grinder. Like we're going to, and I will say the one thing that I've kind of taken from some other people, it's like, all right, like what are we going to do in the next 3 holes? Like what is our target score in the next 3 holes? Like let's focus on that. Like if you get off to a bad start or whatever, it's like, all right, you're 3 holes in. Like these next 3 holes, like let's just try to get the train back on the tracks by making a few pars or making 3 pars, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to kind of think of it too. It's like, they talk about basketball coaches when they get in the huddle. It's like, all right, like we're trying to win the next 3 minutes, right? And then try to win the next 3 minutes and kind of break it up into that. I think it makes you like kind of process the whole round in shorter stints. It kind of takes your mind off of like, all right, we got off to a bad start, or hey, like we finished the back, the front 9 not the way we wanted to. It's like, all right, let's take this next 9 holes and split them up in like 3-hole matches, right? And then try to figure it out from there.
Yeah, I'm with you. Ideally, like, you would love to say you take every shot at a time, like in that moment, one at a time.
We don't, no.
But I do think there's power in exacting yourself out of worrying about the whole score.
Yeah.
Just thinking about like 3-hole segments or whatever it is.
I think that's a great way to get your mind off of it.
Yeah. And if you can just have like these little moments in your round where you can reset and just kind of refocus on a new goal. And that's a reason why, like, I wanted to do this, no doubles in 10 of my league rounds goal, right? Where even if I'm not playing great, I can always focus. You know what? I'm not going to make a double in these.
For sure. Yeah. And it's funny. I even use the whole 3-hole thing. Like when I'm playing well, I think the 3-hole thing gets my mind off of like, all right, man, I've got a really good round going. I'm going kind of deep. All right, let's not even worry about that. Like we got 3 scoring holes coming up. Like let's see if we can get the like 1 or 2 under on these 3 holes. And it kind of gets me thinking in the 3-hole stint rather than like, holy crap, I'm 2 or 3 under. Like I've got to get past these next 6 holes, right? It's like, all right, no, we're going to focus on, putting ourselves in positions on these 3 holes to try to score well. I think it helps when you're playing well too. You kind of, oh my gosh, I'm about to break 80 for the first time. Like, no, don't think about that. Like go out, figure out what you're going to do on the next 2 or 3 holes, kind of set a target score and kind of go from there.
Yeah. And then last thing I'll say, John, specifically answer your question a little bit. I think it's really about giving yourself a moment just to accept whatever just happened, whether it's the bad shot or the bad hole. Let yourself have a moment, call it for what it is, be like, you know what, I sucked.
Get mad. Yeah,
give yourself space to accept it, and then take a deep breath, move on to the next thing.
Yeah, you don't want to hold it in and like be like a, like a ticking time bomb, right?
Yeah.
Like you can get mad. You're allowed to get mad. You just can't let it run into your next shot, right?
Yeah. That's why I think it's best to it's kind of like, you just name it, you call it for what it is, and then you're able to move on, right?
Yeah, I love calling myself a dumbass on the golf course. I was like, God dang, dumbass, dude. Like, yeah. I think calling yourself names is a great stress reliever too. I really do.
Sure, yeah. And it's a good way to like, you're not making excuses. You're recognizing it's on you.
Yeah, it's accountability,
Yeah, it's accountability. You're right. 100%. All right, with that, it is time. We're cruising through to the patio for a patio beer segment. Anything goes on the patio. I'm gonna lead us off here.
Official drink of the patio. We're officially in patio season.
As always, Miller Lite, thank you. Thank you to the Gold Tops.
Yes.
I'm gonna go first. We kind of started a little bit on this subject, so I'm gonna round out the show with this. You're taking the Scotland trip. I imagine that's a pretty high up on the bucket list. Is there actually anything higher than that? Do you have something higher on your bucket list than going to play golf in Scotland?
Well, man, I don't know. I mean, I'm probably, one of my goals is to play like the top 10 courses in Ohio. I'm missing a handful of them. I think completing that would be pretty cool. I've got a couple really cool courses left on that list. One being Double Eagle. And I was talking about it with a guy today. I think that would be pretty cool to finish that. Is that higher than going to Scotland? I don't know. I kind of, especially, playing the home of golf. I don't know realistic things that I have control over. I don't know if that's, I don't know if there's anything higher, to be honest. Like, because we've talked about the golf in America and things like that. Like, it can be hard at times to get on courses and things like that. So things that I actually have control over, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there's anything higher. But I think playing the top 10 courses in Ohio, I think would be, and I feel like I know enough people that I can get on courses in Ohio. That. I think that I still have control. I have a little control over that. It's just a matter of like getting on those courses, like using those connections to get on those courses. But yeah, I don't think so. You could be like, anybody can say, oh, I'll play in Augusta. Well, let's just be honest. How achievable was that? It's probably not super achievable. But yeah, I think if anything rivaled it would be playing like the top 10 courses in Ohio, kind of finishing out that list. I think I've got Double Eagle, I've got Inverness left, and I'm trying to think of the other one. I think that's it. Actually, I only have a couple left. So I think that would be pretty cool to do. But I think this is probably pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, I was curious. Like, I mean, I'm assuming most of them are probably golf related. Like, you've never been to the Masters. Is that how far up is that?
Yeah, I mean that's probably up there. I think if we're talking like non-playing and like actually doing something, yeah. I mean, going to the Masters would probably be just behind that. Yeah.
Would playing any other courses in America outrank playing the old course for you? Outside of like I mean, you're not going to probably play.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, Pine Valley would probably be pretty close.
Yeah.
Pine Valley would be close. I don't think it would outdo it. Yeah, it's kind of hard to outdo the home of golf, but Pine Valley would be up there. Yeah, I mean that would be the one course outside of Augusta that would rival that would probably be Pine Valley for sure.
I mean, I was really racking my brain on this one because I'm with
you. It's tough though. Like everybody's got different things, right? Like, there's a handful of guys on Twitter, X that, their goal is to play the top 100 courses in America, right? Like, I think that's their bucket list, right? Like maybe not going over to Scotland or, wherever, Ireland or whatever and play. I think, that's kind of their bucket list. So everybody's a little different, but it's a hard question to answer, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're necessarily of the age where we're probably really thinking about like.
No, you ask me 15 years from now, it might be completely different, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that might rival, going there and doing that would be something to do with like, for me, I've got two boys, so like, like a dream foursome or something, right? Where it's like my dad and my two boys, and we go play the old course, or like if I get to take them to the Masters someday, like things like that would be, I think, high up there.
Sure. Oh yeah, yep.
But it's really tough for me to think of something that I'd have higher than going to Scotland to play golf. To be
it's just. I think it's really cool that it's just so it's very obtainable. You know what I mean? Like we've talked about cost and some of these places like Bandon and stuff are just not obtainable for the normal person. They really aren't, like price wise. They're just not. And I think people would be shocked at the smaller amount of money that you would need to go and take a trip to Ireland or Scotland. It's truly, because I think people in America get caught up on like going to play Bandon, and doing that trip, going to play Pebble and doing that trip, like with Spyglass and all that. I think people see those prices and they just assume that everywhere outside of America is going to be that expensive. And it's just not the case, specifically Scotland. There are courses like that are $400 or $500 to play over there. There are. And I would tell you that there's so many, at least from our time scheduling this trip, there's so many good courses that aren't $400 or $500 that you don't need to, but you could if you wanted to, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it's Scotland just being the home of golf and things like that. It's kind of hard to beat. It really is. Yeah, it really, really is.
Yeah, I mean, this could change for me a little bit. I've, the last like 5 years or so, we've kind of gone down this path of getting really into the national parks and all that stuff. If I get to a point where I've seen so many of them, maybe that becomes a goal of like, see them all or see a certain number of big ones or whatever. But I mean, right now, as I sit here today, I think you're checking off the number one. So
yeah. Yeah, it's I think I'm not like a super emotional person, but I feel like I'm gonna have some emotions. Like I've been thinking about a trip like this for a really, really, really long time. I would have loved to take it with my dad and brother. They don't like airplanes, and I'm not gonna force them to get on an airplane for that long. Like it's one thing to like force them on an airplane and fly 2 hours. It's a whole nother thing to force them on an airplane and fly 8 hours. I think that would be the only thing that would like outdo this trip. When we're going, I'm going with some of our really good friends, guys that I'm really going to enjoy the time with. But yeah, I think other than like adding more people into the trip, I don't think it can be beat at this point.
I mean, when you like take a step back and look at it, like you're going to the place where this sport has brought so much to, I know, your life and my life.
Yeah.
Right? Like
yeah.
we're sitting here right now because of golf.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
That's how we became friends. So like
Yeah.
the number of people we've met, the relationships we formed, the places we've gone, all because, some Scottish guys at the farm invented this game.
Isn't that crazy? Like to link it back to that. That's what's amazing about it.
So, you'll be standing there in St. Andrews, and I hope that I'm sure you'll get hit with the sort of enormity of that moment, and it'll be a cool feeling.
Yeah, I think that you put it perfectly. Like, I think of it like golf. I wouldn't have never met my wife if it wasn't for golf, right? Like, I know as crazy as that sounds, she's not a golfer, but I would have never gone to the school I went to and met my wife. So, yeah, it's gonna be emotional. I'm not a crier, but I think it's gonna be kind of like in your, you kind of get that feeling in the pit of your stomach where you're like you almost want to take like a mental snapshot of the moment and kind of try to remember it forever. So, and I think that's probably going to happen either on like 17, you get the road hole, probably the Swilken Bridge is probably when it's really going to hit you. Like, holy shit. Like, look where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Walking up 18 is a great moment for that, right?
Yeah. And it's what's exciting about it is the photographer is going to kind of split time with groups and get as many pictures of everybody as he can. But he goes, his one like non-concession is he's like, I'm getting everybody on 17 and I'm getting everybody on 18. Like that is an absolute that is going to happen. And I think that's when it's going to hit you. Like you're walking on that bridge and you're like Jack played his last Open, and he walked across that bridge. And like, that's like the very smallest, like little bit of Open history, right?
Yeah.
That you're kind of thinking of, but it's crazy. Yeah. I still it still hasn't like sunk in that it's happening, until I like hit my first tee shot and it's like, holy shit, this is actually happening.
That was going to be a quick bonus question. What's your opening tee shot prediction at the old course?
Oh, so I'm into decade golf. I've already kind of measured out the course. Obviously we're going to have a caddy. So I'm going to default to him as much as possible.
Sure.
But it feels like a 4-iron or a 2-iron off the first tee. The miss is left. I mean, you cannot miss right. We've got some guys that are already talking about playing it down 18 just to make sure they don't hit one OB on one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'd probably be depending on the wind, it'd probably 4-iron or 2-iron. I don't know if there's ever been a tee shot that I'm going to be more nervous for than that shot. So,
no doubt.
I've played in some big tournaments and things like that, and I just don't think I think there's just going to be so much build up to it that it's going to be a little nerve wracking.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh gosh, you got me all worked up now.
Sorry.
I've got a good question for us. Frankly, I can't believe we never even asked this question. Right, it's kind of one of those where it's like, what are we doing here if we haven't answered this question? So I saw this guy on X. This is kind of where all my questions come from. He like just randomly designs courses for fun, like puts them, lays them out, gives them a name. So if you could design a golf course and you're paying for it, right? So like you can design it, you can name it, you do whatever we can get as deep into those questions as you want. But like if you could design a golf course, like what style would it be, right? And what would you name it? And we can even go deeper than that. Who would the architect be? Like, and it could be someone that's long gone. Like,
Sure.
passed away. It doesn't matter. You can get them to design your golf course.
Ooh, big question here, man. This feels
There's
like
going to be some problem. There's probably going to be. If you, I don't know who you're going to pick for your architect, but that's what always gets people worked up. If you went the Pete Dye route, you'd have people out on your front porch with pitchforks.
No. I'll get that right. I don't know if I'll get like the name and everything else right. Look, Alistair McKenzie is designing my golf course. All right.
I mean, that feels like one of the two best answers, right? I think.
Thank you. Yes, it would be an Alistair McKenzie. I don't know if it would have trees or not. I'm debating no trees, like straight up. Like we're just not having trees.
Oh no,
big ballpark. We're talking width and angles just out the ass.
Oh God.
I want lots of classical features. You want to have some redans, some punch bowls, some, just very, very classy architecture. Multiple ways to play different holes. I might even have some double greens out there, to be honest with you. I want to get a little funky with it, So that's kind of just the overall layout.
So you're an Alistair McKenzie, but you're very much in on new age golf courses, is my feeling.
Kind of. It's
punch bowls, double greens, things like that. Relatively new age, I would think.
Oh, no. That's like the template holes of golf, man. Think about it. The old course.
Well, okay, no. What I'm talking about is like you get your Cabots, the new stuff. Like,
sure.
You get a lot of punch bowls. You get a lot of putt courses out there. Got a lot of run.
I'm not talking about that.
Okay. I just trying to clarify here. Okay.
Yeah, I want a few like templates.
I should have thrown double greens into that because that started originally. So
sure.
Apologies.
So yeah, it would be like that. We'd have like some deep bunkering. I don't think I want pot bunkers necessarily, but I want like some kind of like Augusta-like bunkers in some ways. Like you know what? This is a great place. Royal Melbourne. Give me some like sharp-edged bunkers, like cut into the sides of some greens. Like I want like some true hazard stuff. Even though I stink at bunkers, like I think it's a respectable part of the game, and deserves to be a good feature. I don't think I want water on my course.
Yeah, I'm out on water. Yeah, I there's my course has no water.
I definitely don't want ponds, but like you could give me a tasteful creek or so, like a raised creek situation or whatever.
Yeah, I think a tasteful hazard is not a bad thing, but an actual pond or a lake or something, I'm out on that.
I'm out on that too.
If it's not on the ocean, I don't want water on my course, essentially.
Sure. I'm definitely not having cart pass.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of no cart pass. Yeah.
This is going to be a walk first facility. We will have carts, but they will be walk first.
Yep.
You
got a name for your golf course?
Man, it's so hard. I also want really classy pin flags. I don't know what the logo is going to look like yet, but I want white sticks and a very like simplistic flag with a good logo.
Yeah. I don't know who this was, but I saw a pin that they were just trying way too hard to be Marion.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not Marion. Like,
you got to be the
cut
first,
that out.
If you're doing something like that, you got to be the course that did it.
Yeah,
right?
and they're the course, right? The basket or whatever. You can't redo that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any name?
I'm thinking about it right now. I want to do something like. I'm thinking like just like something like the walk or like the, you know what I mean? Like I want to.
Yeah, very simple. Yeah.
Like the walk would be cool because like, you got the Mark Twain, a good walk spoiled is what he defined golf as. I don't believe golf is a good walk spoiled, but I do think that for me, I feel like the best on a golf course when I'm like walking around with good company. And I just want it to be like, I don't know. I think that's it. Something like that. I might come back next week with a better answer, but I just want to call it something like that, like the walk.
So, okay. I like that. Something simple. Yeah, I do. Simple name is never a bad thing. So I look, I don't think this is without a doubt. Donald Ross is designing my golf course.
Full respect.
Give me false fronts for days. Give me diagonal hazards, creeks, not lakes. Give me some hidden hazards and things like that run, perpendicular. I love that design. Specifically false fronts. I think you get a good course with like I think a Marine Country Club has got a lot of great false fronts. I'm gonna have tasteful trees, right? Like
I was kidding.
I'm not asking for like I don't want forest. I don't want that. Like lost ball, it just slows play. And look, my course is gonna be we want fast pace of play. So trees are fine, just not like wooded areas where you're losing balls left and right and things that.
I'm actually with you. I'm not anti-tree on that.
Tasteful heather, I think, is never a bad thing. I think heather makes it doesn't even have to be in play. I think just what I mean by tasteful heather is like it's just around, right? Like you kind of, and it may not be something that's part of the golf course, essentially where you're actually hitting the ball. But I think that's always a good add.
It pops so well in golden hour. That's when you want that.
The sun's going down. It looks, our course has kind of done a pretty good job of that in recent years of adding, not even adding, it's just like letting the grass grow. Right. Yeah. I think that's always it's always like a easy value add that doesn't really cost the golf. It actually alleviates a lot of maintenance. Yeah, I've thought about this for like the last 5 days, and I could never really come up with a name. I will tell you this. I want a lot of dog legs, and I want a lot of dog leg rights. That's what I want on my golf course. I can hit that buttery fade out there and just kind of work it around the corner. Love a good dog leg right. As far as a name, man, I've been thinking of names. And none of them just like, you say, and like yours, like the walk is kind of cool. Like
thank you.
That's really cool. Where would your course be at? Let's do that real quick. Where would your course, like if you could build a course anywhere, where would it be?
Well,
in the United States, not overseas. Yeah.
Australia or Scotland comes to mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be, honestly, for the type of course I'm imagining, I think like Wisconsin would make the most sense.
Probably, yeah. If you want no trees,
soil, it would be sick to have like lake views. I don't necessarily want the water as part of the course, but like a lake view would be sick.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
I'm thinking like a Wisconsin, like Upper Midwest, would make sense for mine.
Yeah. Well, I'm an Ohio homer, so I'd probably keep mine here.
Good man.
I think like because I want these dog legs is like I think it'd just be like the dog leg or like dog leg, dog leg links or something. Like it'd be such a lame name. I am not a marketing brain at all, but like dog leg links or dog leg farm. I think like you throw a farm in there because I'm probably building mine like north central Ohio where there's a lot of land, some trees, relatively flat, not completely flat, but relatively flat. So I think you could throw the farm in there and get away with it. So like dogleg farms or something like that, I think would be pretty cool.
I'm trying to think of some like Fader's Alley or something, or something like that, to do with the dog legs.
Butter fade links.
There you go. Buttercut links, baby.
Oh gosh, yeah, I think
Buttercut National.
Buttercut, yeah. You always throw the national in there; it just makes it a little classier. Yeah, something along. I think like dogleg farms would be, or dogleg farm would be pretty cool. You just got like dogs running around too. Like I think that would be. Yeah. I'm a big dog guy. You get some dogs just like free roaming out there, not strays or anything like it's gonna like come up on you, but like just let the dogs fly. No fences. If you live.
Buttercut farm and links, and it's like a cattle farm too, and you're just like out there churning butter,
making chocolate milk, and Fairlife, or Fairlife, it would be a destination.
Exactly. Family experience.
Yeah,
man,
that's all I got.
That's good. That's great. God, what a way to round this episode out. Thank you all for watching and listening. If you've joined us live, appreciate that. Make sure you hit the follow, subscribe, like buttons, all those for us. Repost it, share it with friends,
Yeah.
whatever. Help us grow this thing a little bit. We appreciate that. As always, follow us on social media at Back96Pack. If you want to leave us some fan mail, shout out to Gunther and John for sending those in. There's always a link down in our show description. So go back and find us in the podcast feed. You'll be able to find that link there. But yeah, otherwise, enjoy the PGA Championship. My guy heading over to Scotland.
Yeah.
Enjoy your trip. We'll be back next week. Justin will not be with us. I'll have to figure out me and somebody else, TBD. We'll see. But we will be recapping the PGA Championship then. So until next time, cheers.
See ya. Viewing on